The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Chelan, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34669. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the front bumper. On the face of the front bumper, you'll find 2 air horns on the passenger and driver side. Moving just inside of that location on the passenger side, you'll find a recessed speaker siren. Moving just inside of those locations on the frame rail, you'll find 2 chrome tow hooks. And then moving directly in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the cab itself, where you'll find on the outer edge a clearance marker light. Inside of that, you'll find a turn marker. On the inside housing, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. And then moving up from that location, you'll find emergency warning lights. On the outer edge, you'll find a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Located in the center, you'll find your forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. With inside the light bar in the very center, you'll find your opticom. Just above the emergency warning light bar is where you'll find your go light, controlled from within inside the cab, and then a close-up of the grille with the American flag waving. Let's move now to the driver's side. First, lower emergency warning lights, bumper area, and also rear section of the cab. As we move upward from that location, A pillar is where you'll find a clearance turn indicator light. As we move now to the doors, you'll find your paddle latch, which is keyed, and then also you'll find your grab handles for all points of entry for personnel. As we move upward from this location, directly over the front tire is where you'll find your auto eject plug for your shoreline power, and also a shoreline power indicator. Moving directly above that location, you'll find a side-facing scene light, and on the rear section of the cab, you'll find your water tank level indicator. Let's move around now to the pump panel. We'll identify a few items within this area. Let's start in the upper right-hand corner with the master gauges. This is your master intake gauge on the very far left in the gray area. As we move to the right, you'll find your master discharge gauge. And located in between the two of those is where you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Those are currently plugged and are for testing purposes. Let's move just down to the left section, where you'll find these placards. This is your Husky Foam System 3 specifications and also instructions. Just beneath that, you'll find a warning label regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines from above, there is the possibility of entanglement. Moving now to the right, you'll find your number 1 cross lay. It is water and foam capable. And then to the right, you'll find your number 2 cross lay. Moving further to the right, you'll find your discharges. They are clearly labeled and identified. If they have a red indicator, they're indicating that they are foam capable, which is for your Husky Foam System 3. There are operating instructions on the module itself, and also at number 4, there's the system status lights, which explains the blinking light down in the lower right corner. To simply turn on, press the System On button, which is the green button in the upper left. You'll find a foam percentage, which is a digital readout once it is in the on position. As we move down, you'll find the gray increase or decrease. Those will increase the percentages of foam. To the right, you'll find your prime button, which is the yellow button. And then further to the right, as I mentioned previously, the system status light, indicating what your system is in operating mode. As we move to the right, you'll find the foam level for tank A. It is full, 3/4, half, quarter, and flashing red when it is close to refill. As we move down to the pump boss, this is your pressure throttle governor. If illuminated, it would be yellow in color as the check engine light. As we move to the right, you'll find a digital readout for the RPM, and then also if illuminated would be in red, it is a stop engine light. As we move down on the pump boss, you'll find the blue menu button, allows you to scroll through the various menu functions of your pump boss. Moving in the very center, you'll find engine diagnostic information, and then to the right, you'll find a red silence button. This allows you to silence any audible alarms that may be sounding.
As we move down, you'll find the pressure or RPM button. That is either a selection of pressure mode or throttle mode. In the center, you'll find a digital readout. And then to the right, you'll find your throttle ready, which is a green indicator it's okay to engage your throttle. As we move down, you'll find a preset button, which is green. That's allowing you to set any pressure or RPM positions. Down at the very bottom, you'll find the throttle, right to increase, left to decrease. To move to the idle position, simply push the idle button in the center. There is also an audible alarm. Just to the right is where the speaker is located. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound or increase the sound. Let's move just to the right where we'll find some panel light switches. First the panel light and then also an OK to pump indicator light, which is green. Moving down, you'll find the left scene light and then also in red your air horn. Let's move down from this position where you'll find the deluge discharge. It is a wheel valve and also a pressure gauge on the left. As we move further down, you'll find your tank, fill, and recirculating line. Moving just to the right, you'll find your engine cooler. That is a twist, not a pull. And then as we move down further, you'll find an analog gauge for your fuel level. And then to the right, you'll find your water level for your water tank from full, 3/4, half, quarter, and flashing refill. To the right, you'll find your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air. You need at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. As we move down further, you'll find the pump overheat. That light will be flashing if it is in the overheat mode, and a test button on the left. There's this placard regarding warning. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they received proper training. As we move to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. That is the placard indicating the time frame for your pump testing. You find in the center 150, 200, and 250 PSI test pressures. Left will show the GPM and right will sign the associated GPM and throttle position. For example, you'll find the upper left-hand corner, which has the job number 34669-02. As we move further to the right, you'll find the two discharges on the driver's side, number 1 and number 3. And then in the center, you'll find a pressure warning hazard label. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. In the center, you'll find your Pierce American Flag Eagle. That is your large diameter pump intake. Moving to the right on the pan door, we do have a warning label here. When climbing on the vehicle, always face the vehicle. As we move down to the next pan door, you'll find the foam fill operation valve. It is the yellow valve down in the lower corner. Let's move all the way down to the very bottom where you'll find all of your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving just to the right of this location, we'll find the Watrous placard. This is indicating a pump capacity of 1,500 GPM. As we move further down, you'll find your pump drain, and then just to the right, you'll find your auxiliary driver's side inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female inlet. Let's move further to the right on the pump panel where you'll find this warning label regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move down, you'll find your manual pump shift, and then also to the right, you'll find a position draft foam tank. It's either up for draft or down for tank, and then also the foam fill location. As we move down to the diamond plated area, you'll find a tub storage location for hose storage and also Velcro straps. Just on the side, you'll find a foam tank drain and also a foam pump discharge drain. Just in front of and rear of the axle is where you'll find the storage location for your folding wheel chocks. As we move up from that location, you'll find the DEF and fill locations in the small pan door. And then further up, you'll find SCBA bottle storage locations. We'll go over those when they're in the open position. As we move to the very center, just over the axle, you'll find an emergency warning light side facing. And then as we move to the upper corner rear, you'll find a 360-degree emergency warning light. Let's take a look what's inside the compartments. First, just to the area at the very top of this compartment, you have adjustable shelves and LED lighting. You'll also find when plugged into shore power, this outlet will be active. When this outlet is active, it's indicating that it will turn on the auto charge for your battery system, and it will also turn on the air compressor for your brake system. Let's take a look in the pan doors now that we talked about earlier. First at the bottom, you'll find the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. As we move upward from this location, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location. As we move to the rear, you'll find your axle housing a Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire. Moving just above this location, you'll find once again adjustable shelving, LED lighting in the compartments in the roll-up door area. As we move to the rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location and also your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. It is the silver cap. As we move to the very rear compartment, the lower compartment shelf does have a pull-out tray. The release mechanism for that tray is in the lower right-hand corner. It will lock in position. You will need to push the latch down to release. Let's move now to the rear of the apparatus. First, starting on the left and right side of the apparatus, you'll find your tail lights. At the top, you'll find emergency warning light, brake light, turn, and reverse light. Moving up from that location, you'll find your deck light switch. And then as we move through the various functions here in the very rear section, you'll find an air tool outlet. There is an open and close valve on it. And then also we'll go through some warning labels here. This is fall. Always face the vehicle when climbing on it. As we also move just to the right, you'll find a pressure warning hazard. Remember, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move to the rear section, you'll also find the driver's rear discharge. It is a foam-capable discharge. And also a few more warning labels, pressure hazard and also entanglement hazard. As we move up from this location, you'll find your traffic advisor. As we move downward to the roll-up door located in the center, you'll find inside the compartment a floor-mounted tray. The release mechanism is on the right-hand side. It will lock in position when one has been pulled outward. On the vertical sheets, you'll also find fold-down steps for gaining access to go aloft to the hose bed area. You'll also find a warning label not to ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we look to the hose bed area, you'll find adjustable hose bed dividers and also a covered hose bed. As we look to the very far right, you'll find an emergency warning light and then also a rear scene light. Let's move around now to the passenger side, where you'll find two pan doors in front of and rear of the axle. These are your SCBA storage locations. And then you'll also find, just directly over the rear axle, emergency warning light. I would like to point out down in the lower right corner, just in front of the axle, you'll find your exhaust and also a warning label, be cautious where you park your vehicle, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. As we move to the rear compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving and also a pull-out tray. Once again, the release is on the lower right corner. Let's take a look in those SCBA bottle storage locations. You'll find SCBA bottle storage for 3 and also retaining straps to the rear. And then you'll also find Alcoa wheels, Goodyear tires, and then once again there's that warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. As we look now to the center, you'll find a tool board. The D handle gains access to the rear area. There is a latch that locks in position you will need to release to restore back to its original stowed position. In front of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles and also retaining straps. Once again, I can't emphasize this enough, be cautious where you park your vehicle, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Let's take a quick look with all of the compartment doors in the open position, and now we'll move now to the pump panel area. We'll first start at the very upper right-hand corner where the crosslays are located. There are 2 crosslays, and in the very center there is a dead lay. Let's take a look. We have the number 1 and number 2 crosslay, foam capable, and then also a dead lay directly in the center. As we move toward the front section of the cab, you'll find a backboard storage location. Lift and turn latches will gain access into that compartment. Let's move downward from this location to the pump panel area. We'll first start at the left-hand side with the number 2 crosslay. It is foam capable, real rewind switch, and right scene light. We also have the cab lift. This is the module for raising the cab. We have instructions to raise the cab and also to lower the cab. We also have some warning, caution, and danger information on the placard. For operation, this is the activate switch. For gaining access for the function, you'll go to the upper right-hand corner to either lower or raise. Simply turn the red quarter turn. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find your powered equipment rack. We do have instructions on the placard to raise and also to lower, and we also have a danger label located on the placard. For operation, there's a master switch at the very top for on and off. Once it is moved to the on position, you'll find a green indicator, and then you'll be able to operate the function for up or down. Let's move down to the very bottom where you'll find all of your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right now where you'll find the 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet female coupling. As we move to the very top, you'll find a warning regarding fall hazard. It's important that you always face the vehicle when you climb. As we move down to the pan door, you'll find on the inside of the door there are instructions here regarding the type of hydraulic oil, and you'll also find the reservoir on the left-hand side. The black red is the cap for fill. As we move back to the label on the inside, this is your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir and the type of oil that you'll use. As we move to the right of this pan door is where you'll find your Pierce American flag eagle logo. This is your large diameter pump intake. Moving just to the right, you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. And as we move further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. We do have an additional pressure warning hazard label here. Because of those caps may be under pressure, be cautious when removing them. As we move to the second pan door, you'll find your access for your internal relief valve. That is the set screw for that. Let's take a look now at the upper portion of the vehicle. This is going to be your enclosed hose bed. There are 2 release mechanisms and also handles in the front and also rear section for gaining access for open and close. As we look to the ladders, we have a 24-foot extension ladder, a 14-foot roof, and also a 10-foot folding and also pike poles. As we move to the dunnage area, this is where you'll find the top fill location for your water tank. And as we move forward to this location, you'll find your tank A, which is your foam tank. There are instructions on the water tank, and also I'd like to point out on the foam tank we do have a warning label regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Let's move forward to this location where you'll find your Husky 3 foam hydraulic reservoir. As we move to the center, you'll find your master stream device, and then to the right in the image, passenger side, is where you'll find your red or booster line. Also some items on that booster line, there is a tension for either tension or free spool. It's the knob on the right hand side. As we move upward, there is also a shaft that raises upward, allowing you to manually rewind if you have some sort of mechanical problem. Let's move back to the center area where you'll find your deluge discharge. There is top control for that on the valve. And then as we move down to the Husky 3 foam reservoir, you can see this is the fill location for that reservoir. Let's move now to the cab of the vehicle. This is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these placards placed here regarding be cautious, this area is slippery. You'll also find a cross-lay location here that is covered. As we move around now to the driver's side of the vehicle, let's move into the cab area of the operator. First, affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning information. As we move down to the bottom, you'll find this yellow placard about the right ankle of the operator. This is the manufactured by Pierce for your department. It has the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and then all of the fluid for each component and fluid capacity type. Let's move down to the floorboard area where you'll find the brake treadle located in the center. Off to the right, you'll find your accelerator. As we move just to the left, we'll go about left knee is where we'll identify a few items within this area. First, let's start with the red master battery switch, quarter turn for on. As we move downward from this location, you'll find a few switches. First, regen inhibit, ABS diagnostics, and then as we move all the way to the right-hand side, you'll find a green engine transmission ABS diagnostic port. Moving further to the right, you'll find a display port where you can plug into for tech module. It is down at the very bottom right. As we move to the left, you'll find your DPF regen switch, and then also an indicator regarding your engine diagnostics. And then once again, all the way to the very far right is your tech module. Let's move upward from this location. On the left-hand side, you'll find the hazard lights, start switch, and ignition switch. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find a switch labeled EM, Emergency Master, allows you to engage or disengage emergency lights. To the right, you'll find your headlight, and further to the right, you'll find your panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. Let's move from this location all the way to the very far right-hand side. Not pictured in this is where you'll find your OK to engage the high idle switch and high idle indicator. That's on the right-hand side of the steering column. As we move to the steering wheel, your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system airbag. As we move to the left, you'll find your transmission, oil pressure, DEF level, and water temperature. On the right-hand side, you'll find the volts, fuel, front and rear air. Your speedometer and tachometer are located in the center. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of the dash area where you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. You can see down the lower left, that is your high idle. Let's move just to the right of the dash area where you'll find your Pierce command zone. This is the information center with a digital readout. As we move to the right, you'll find your pump shift. We'll go over that in just a few moments. And then as we move down, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, which is a digital push button. Let's move back to the Pierce Command Zone. A tremendous amount of information here right at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information and its capabilities. Moving to the right, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and also from pump to road. On the left, you'll find the green indicator pump engaged, and on the right you'll find the OK to pump. You'll need both of those indicators illuminating green for pump operations when exiting the cab. Let's move down from this location. We have an indication to pump and drive. We have an engine brake switch on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, mirror heat, traction control, and front wheel lock. We also have some caution and warning information here regarding disengage the retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces, and always engage your parking brake when the engine is running and using the front wheel lock. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. Moving also overhead of the operator's position, this is directly overhead, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height 10 feet 4.5 inches, the length 30 feet 4.25 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 44,000 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle that may affect this, please update this placard. Let's move just to the right to a set of memory switches. First, in the upper left, we'll start with the emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. As we move down, you'll find the lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and opticom. When any of these switches have been depressed, you'll find the outer edge will illuminate, indicating it's on. As we move to the right, the upper section are all future switch locations if necessary. You'll also find the siren brake, differential lock, load manager, and air horn. Let's move further to the right where you'll find your traffic advisor. This is the control module for the advisor at the rear of the apparatus. As we move to the center console, you'll find a push to talk for your radio system, and then also your mirror controls for passenger and driver side mirrors. Let's go ahead and move now to the officer side or passenger area. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning information. We'll also find at the floorboard level an air horn foot pedal and also a mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move to the very center front dash, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with an airbag, supplemental restraint system. Do not mount anything within this area. Let's go ahead and move now just up to the dash area. We'll talk at the very top. We have 12 volt access. This is the barrel style access or cigarette lighter style. As we move back, you'll find 12 volt access via USB style. Let's go ahead and move overhead of the officer position. We'll identify a few areas here, just a general quick look. Let's go ahead and start on the far right with an AM/FM weather band CD radio. You'll also find as we move just to the left, we're going to find a digital readout for a speedometer. Let's go ahead and move further to the left where you'll find your siren control and PA speaker system. And then as we move to the very center area, you'll find seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they are in the seat and belted. Let's go ahead and go overhead of the driver and officer position where you'll find push on and off white red lenses. Each one of those lenses will turn on either the red or white light. Located in the very center of the cab, you'll find a red puck style light indicating do not move your apparatus when this light is flashing. You may have a compartment or door open. As we move to the officer area, you'll find a push to talk for your radio and also the vehicle data recorder port. In the center, you'll find your climate control for heat, defrost, and air conditioning. Moving down, we have some memory switches here, a brow light, left scene, right scene, siren brake, momentary opticom, left pole, right pole. Let's move further down in the same vicinity where you'll find 12 volt access via Blue Sea, which is a USB charging area. You'll also find just to the right your go light, which will control the spotlight located directly over the emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and go to the rear section of the cab. Once again, at all points of entry, you'll find all of those warning labels affixed to the door panel. As we move inside, you'll find 2 rear-facing EMS compartments and 2 forward-facing SCBA seats and 2 fold-down seats. You can see the roll-up compartments here, LED lighting, and also adjustable shelving. The 2 seats in the center do have SCBA access. As you move to the outer edges, you'll find a fold-down seat. Let's go ahead and go overhead in this area. first starting with your David Clark headset system and then also stereo speakers. As we move to the front section of the vehicle, at the rear portion of the engine is where you'll find an access door. It's just beneath where these wires are located. This is going to be for accessing your daily checks for oil and transmission, directly behind the lift and turn latch here. As we move from this location, let's just take a general view of the overall cab from the rear section looking forward. Congratulations, Chelan, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34669. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.